We're live, Jimmy.
We are live again. Here we are again.
The week's flown by, Jim.
Do you believe it's been a week?
I cannot believe that.
It's been a week, and we're back on technology, Andrew. And
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see whether the camera, falls off again.
I was just going to say that.
As we said last week, folks, we haven't got videographers.
We're new to this, Jim.
We are new to it, and we're not new to technology, but we're new to live streaming.
Yeah, very true.
And so we might just wait a
couple of minutes
for some.
And how's your week been, Jim?
My week has been pretty good, actually, Andrew. Yeah, it's been okay. And the way we're sitting, folks, by the way, we're actually 1.5 metres apart. Andrew is sitting a metre in front of me. And it's just the way it is. It's trick photography. So
yeah, it's true.
But yeah, my week's been all right. Bloody cold this morning.
It is freezing.
Jeez, hasn't it changed? It looks like the first day of winter's
has hit
early,
definitely.
Hasn't it?
So,
a month early. But I think we're in for a colder one tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to get next couple of days going to be freezing. So
and a bit more rain.
Yeah, a bit more rain.
And another cold day again on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
it's all right. We've got the winter coats. The scarves are out.
I've got the Tommy Hilfiger jumper back on. We've got 3 of these, Andrew. We've got the black, the navy, and the grey.
Just keep rotating.
And we rotate them through the program.
Well, it looks like a few of them have jumped on, which is great.
Fantastic.
And, it's another week, and we thought we'd give you a bit more of an update with how we're seeing things in the marketplace over the last week. And to be honest, it's been a really big week. The last week has been massive, especially with inquiry rate. That has been probably the biggest thing I've noticed for my properties as well. Even some properties that were on the market a few weeks ago that were sitting there because people weren't too sure in regards to should they buy now or should they wait. All of a sudden, the last few days, those properties there, especially one home today, we've already had 5 inspections there at the same property today and a couple there tonight. So inquiry for me has definitely picked up, so which is a good sign.
Look, it's an interesting space. Last night we were talking. We were both at home, and on our Facebook page, our online partner realestate.com.au released some statistics yesterday showing that we spoke about it. We sort of touched on it last week, but yesterday they actually released some statistics showing that search activity in the buy and sell sections has increased significantly, particularly in the last week.
The last week's huge, the spike. Massive.
Well, looking at the graph that they showed, it actually shows, in fact, that search activity is 37% higher than for the same corresponding time last year. Yeah. And it also showed that rental searches for rental properties, were up by 14.6% for the week. This is all just for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Jim. I think the last week, look, I've only been doing this for 11 years. You've been doing it for a lot longer than me. But
don't make me that old. I'm only a pup. It's only 34 years, mate. I've never
seen a change in inquiry over the last week. Because last week, obviously, we still had traction and so forth, but general inquiry rate through Domain, REA, the main portals were definitely a lot quieter. And this week, we've just seen a dramatic change, which is promising, and hopefully that will transition to some more good results. So,
Well, it's interesting to look at. We sort of say that's the statistics, right? They're telling us, 37% higher. The actual fact is, though, the turnover is down. No question. There's less property. So we look at it and we say, what does this mean? How can we interpret these numbers? And I'll tell you, Andrew, what I think it tells us, and to people watching. What it tells us is, whilst there might be lower transaction numbers because of COVID-19 or through this period, it tells us that interest in property remains strong. It tells us that people are looking and perhaps considering or planning their next move. We touched last week that people are at home.
Correct.
They're spending more time. Children are at home, learning remotely or homeschooling, call it whatever you want to call it. But it tells us that people have got more time on their hands.
Correct.
And the other thing is, today's the last day of April, right? We've got through the month. And what we saw this month is not what we expected to see this month. As recently as 4 weeks ago, when we were sitting on the last day of March, as estate agents, as local business people, we were scratching our heads thinking, what does this all mean? How's it going to work? What's going to happen? Are we all going to be out of work? Are we, is everything going to shut down? Well, I can tell you today, walking through Water Gardens, it's like it's back to normal. Probably 50% of the shops are getting ready to open. and they certainly be open by tomorrow. A lot of them were open today. And I think people, Andrew, like we touched on, they've been at home. They've been in lockdown for 5 weeks now, 4 to 5 weeks. And it's been 7 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks since about the middle of March since COVID really got some traction.
Yeah, correct, yeah.
And I think they're at the point, people are at the point where, you know, they're saying, well, okay, we've got really low transmission numbers.
Which is
you know, there's 6 million people live in Victoria. There's 50 people in hospital, or 50 people that have it. We're managing okay. The curve is flattened. Yep. You know, how can we start to get back to some normality?
Yeah.
I think people are thinking that, right? So then, as I said before, you know, we're sitting now on the last day of April with a totally different view than what we had 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, correct. I
can tell you for April, in our local group here, we saw 28 sales transactions get finalised.
Which is...
we wouldn't have expected that.
No, definitely not. And I think looking at those numbers, any month doing 28 transactions would be a fantastic month. And doing that, you know, in current environment is great to see. So.
Yeah. And so we look at that, and, you know, tremendous effort by your team as well, Andrew, with outstanding results and fantastic service to your clients and customers. But, you know, what we've seen is an increase in the number of off-market sales, which we touched on last week. But we've also seen a lot less listings, which is understandable, right? People are concerned. You know, a few weeks ago, we were saying people were thinking they're not going to get the price they want. People were thinking, I don't want people coming through my house. They were also thinking, you know, if I sell, what am I going to go and buy?
Correct, yeah.
And with all the uncertainty, they were more or less just, they go into comfort mode, into protection mode, let's call it. And everybody just battens down the hatches. And that's what we saw, right?
Yeah, correct.
As far as new listings go. Having said that, we've been saying all along, buyers want to buy, sellers want to sell. We sat there thinking a price is going to soften. You know, logic was telling us, yes, they probably should. But having said that, on the back of short supply and on the back of higher demand, whilst we're working with less buyers, they want to buy.
Correct.
You know, our strike rate, folks, I think I might have mentioned, it was 1 in 10. Typically, statistically, you know, I'm a nut for numbers, and as Andrew would know, and our numbers were showing us that always that 1 in 10 would want to do something with the property. Well, we've got that down to 1 in 3.
Yeah.
You know, for every 3 people or every 3 inspections we're having, we're getting an offer, and people wanting to transact. So, you know, the lack of new listings and the continuing demand is underpinning some of the results that we're getting, and we're getting them in all price points.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
you know, from sort of mid threes up to sort of just over the $1 million mark.
Yeah, correct.
This month, the bulk of our transactions were between 700 and 850. With the bulk of our transactions in the 6s and 7s, which is pretty typical for the area. The other thing that was really encouraging, whilst we're talking about some numbers, and we did mention that realestate.com statistics that came out last night also showed a 14.6% spike in inquiry for rental properties. I can tell you, I got from, you know, Sam Laspina, our property senior property manager, and runs all of our department in property management, gave me some numbers before, and what they saw for the month of April, and it's not over because it finishes tonight, so they might see a few more numbers today, but they saw over 1,000 inquiries come through. We can track every single inquiry. Over 1,000 inquiries came through. The team conducted 344
Which is massive.
Private inspections.
That's huge,
right?
Well, Lisa this morning was jumping up and down because she put her property up on the market for rental in Taylor's Hill, and she already has had 30 inquiries. Just for that property.
Just for that property, right?
Which is insane. That's insane.
Which is much different than what it was 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago. So it's all changed in the last week. But 344 private inspections, and our team leased 46 properties for the month of April. And there's another couple swinging that are supposed to sign up today. But let's call it 47, 48. But let's look at the ones that are actually being leased. So we've had 46 properties let for the month, over 1,000 inquiries, and 344 private inspections that our team has conducted through challenging times. But they've done it safely. They've done it taking into account all the procedures that we need to follow with these COVID-19 recommendations, and you know, they've done it well.
Yeah, they've done a great job by the team. So yeah, look, it's been a great week, an interesting week as well, and yeah, for us, I think inquiry is probably the main topic today, and gives us confidence to give our vendors confidence that, hey, listen, yes, there's obviously a lack of supply out there in the marketplace, but the demand is still there. So any vendor currently on the market at the moment, I think they'll take advantage of that and hopefully get some good results.
Yeah, and that's exactly the thing. And the message really is that anyone that's sitting on the fence, you know, when we talk about 37% realestate.com spike in inquiry in the last week for buy under the buy and sell section. So no doubt people are doing their homework, and yes, there is uncertainty, but you know, clearly the demand is still there. So anyone that's holding back, we're doing a lot more off-market transactions. We're doing a lot more, you know, private videos, our own videos. We're not getting a videographer out. We're going, you know, Andrew, you've probably seen some of Andrew's stuff. Yeah. He's going out there with the iPhone.
We're trying.
And Justin's shooting it. But you know what? It's raw, it's real, and it's not manufactured. It's how it is.
Yeah, correct.
And we're providing people with some basic information, and then they can book an appointment and come through. Also really, really pleasing, folks. Our website, barryplant.com.au/Taylor's Lakes, we now have the ability to promote our off-market listings directly onto our website and onto our weekly email alerts, which is great because previously all we could do was share details. Now we can actually share video and live footage. So
great tool to have.
It's a fantastic tool to have. And there's no question, you know, real estate, whilst real estate doesn't change, I think the way we do things moving forward, you know, this episode of COVID has taught us that we can do things a bit differently. We can do things remotely, and we can access information in many different ways and provide our clients with up-to-date, up-to-the-minute relevant information for them to be able to make an informed decision. So, you know, as we navigate through what are uncertain times, the message is that we're still here for you. 100%. You know, we're here, we're doing deals, we're doing things a bit differently, but we're certainly here to help. And all that. What do people need to do, Andrew? Just give us a call.
Just give us a call. Anytime, we're here to help you 24/7. I'm sure you guys all know that. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week's episode. Look forward to seeing you all. Very sorry, guys. I just had a phone call there come through. Even though
we've got it on Do Not Disturb,
it's still come through.
I don't know how this works.
I've got no idea.
We're learning.
But thank you guys for tuning in. And any questions, give us a call. We'll love to help you. And speak to you guys soon.
All the best. See you guys.
Bye.